There's a couple things that people ask me that are usually big warning signs when they're talking about their business. And if I ask them first, I say, who's looking for your solution? And they say everybody, they get a big X. Fail. No, that is not true. Or if I say, is your market, like you said, looking for this solution? And if they say, well, this is something they need, they should want this. That's the other kiss of death. They should
be looking at this. Yeah.
Yeah. And I say that, if you have to teach them that they need what you want to sell them, then you're very, very likely to fail. You want to find people that are already waiting for a solution and you just swoop in and give it to them.
And, I guess a good example, I was trying to think of a way to illustrate. Let's take Internet Business Mastery as an example. And there's a lot of people out there who hate their 9-to-5 job and they want out of it, okay? And that's an urgent pain. Like they hate their boss, or they hate the fact that they don't have enough time to spend with their family, or they hate all the overtime they have to work. They feel
driving to work every day for an hour.
It's a huge amount of people who are out there in that situation. Urgent pain going on, right? But how many of them are actually looking for a solution to that? I mean, sadly, a lot of people, it's just become the status quo of, well, we're just going to deal with it. Now, thankfully, there are obviously enough people who are out there who want a solution to that and are out there looking for a solution, because otherwise we wouldn't have a business in a market. But that's to illustrate the point of there's a type of person who has an urgent pain, and maybe they're even kind of aware of it, but they're not actively looking for a solution. I have a lot of friends and even family who hate their job. And in my opinion, they could really need listening to Internet Business Mastery could be very useful to them. But if they don't actually actively want to find a solution or out there looking for a solution, that's a whole different story. To have the urgent pain, but then to actually be looking for the solution to it is a different thing. So that's why we want to make that delineation there.
Well, and we both know from personal experience that you can't make them want to, even if they have the pain. Because believe me, I've talked to my family and friends 100 times about, wow, you really should start an internet business. Look at what it could get you. And they're like, yeah, you're right. And then nothing happens. And you don't want that person as a market.
Even if it's just to get them to think about other possibilities, whether it's an internet business or not. Sadly, a lot of people aren't willing to, they're afraid of change, and they go back to just what they've been used to. And sadly, sometimes what people are used to is the pain, and so they just continue to put up with the pain. So those you have to really be digging into the psyche of your target market and just thinking about, and that leads into this number 4. So we've had 3 criteria here. Number 1, are you passionate about the niche? Number 2, does the market have an urgent pain or an irrational passion? Number 3, is the market proactively searching for the solution? And you might ask yourself, well, how am I supposed to know? And one of the best ways is criteria number 4. Ask yourself, are you a member of your own target market? Now, see, in going to Internet Business Mastery, Sterling and I, we've both been there. We knew what it was like to have a 9-to-5 job, to hate it, to be looking for something else, to strike out on our own, to start a business, to specifically start an internet business, to put ourselves out there as an expert, to go into something we were really passionate about and turn it into an income stream that allowed us to have, new freedom in our lives. We had been through that process. We know what it's like to think about and what the needs and wants and desires. And we know that market inside and out because we are members or used to be members of that market in the 9-to-5. So, if you want to go into the knitting sweaters market, are you somebody who actually enjoys knitting sweaters yourself? I'm imagining if you're going to go teach people how to knit sweaters, it's something that you have done or are going to learn how to do. If you want to reach out and teach, for instance, we have one woman in our platinum group who she wants to reach out to human resource professionals who are hitting like a plateau in their career and want to find a way to kind of leap to the next level or even strike out and do freelance on their own. And she is a member of that market. She's worked for a long time in human resources. She hit that moment in her career where she wanted to take some different steps, strike out on her own, do some freelancing as a human resource expert. So she was a member of her own target market. She intimately knew the needs and desires and wants and questions of that market. Now, if you can't answer yes to that,
meaning like if you're picking a niche or looking at a niche that you absolutely want to go into, but you don't Yeah, or you cannot answer that first part of that question as yes, then
then you need to at least ask yourself, do I have access to this target market so I can talk to them in person regularly? Maybe you have a family member, maybe you have clients, maybe you have friends, maybe you can, join a local meetup group where that target market is, a way that you can interact with those people on a regular basis. Because if you don't know your prospect well enough, you should be talking to them. Right now, if you're in the position of, well, I'm not in my target market and I clearly need to know the needs and wants of my market better, then I'd say right now you need to be once a day live or on the phone talking to those people. That's one of the big reasons why we enjoy doing the Platinum Group. There's a ton of reasons why, but one of the reasons why is because we actually are live on the phone through webinars and through consultations talking to our target market. We love doing the podcast, we love doing the academy, but there's a whole different level when we have the opportunity to talk to a focused group of our target market live, and that's why we're here doing this show and sharing new things with you about niche selection, because we just got done with 2 weeks of talking to our target market live and in person over the phone, and it brought up all these new realizations about what their little hangups were and the things that we might be able to say to help them. And so now we're here bringing that to the podcast episode to tell the rest of our market. So ask yourself, if I'm not a member of my target market, can I at least get that live interaction on a regular basis with people who are in my target market?
And there are other ways too. If you don't have direct access, don't be too afraid of it, because there are other ways. And there's things that we teach in the academy too, where you can survey your group by buying traffic to them, or you can even find forums where these people hang out. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but obviously the top way of doing it is being able to have access to be able to talk through the internet or even in person to people that are your target market.
Okay, so when you do talk to your target market, and so this is still all under that heading of either being in or having access to your target market, how do you find out what their wants and needs are? Well, here's a couple questions, actually 3 questions to be specific, that you should ask them. Whether this is in person, whether this is on the phone, or whether this is through a survey or in a forum, these are questions that you should be asking and looking for the answers to. And that is, what are your top questions about your top 1 or 2 questions about topic X, whatever your niche is. You ask your target market, what's your top question or the top problem that you're running into when it comes to topic X, when it comes to knitting sweaters, when it comes to dog training, when it comes to growing tomatoes, whatever the niche might be. So number 2, ask them, how hard has it been for you to find the answers to those questions or to find the solutions to those problems? How hard has it been? And if everyone's saying, oh, easy, well, then obviously you got a problem. But actually, the more important reason to ask that is the people who say, oh, not hard at all, they're not as much your target market. You want to really be listening to the people who are saying, oh, really hard or pretty hard, or, it's kind of been tough. Those are the people you really want to be listening to, because they're not only do they have the need, they're aware of it, but they're having a hard time finding the solution. So that means that they don't have very many options, available to them. So those are the people you really want to be looking for and listening to. Third question is, what would it mean to you if you found a solution to this problem? So if you ask your target market those 3 questions, it's gonna help you find out what those true desires are, what the hole in the market is, what it is that you can offer that it will not only make money, but it'll be relatively easy to find these people and sell this solution to them. Because obviously, if it means a lot to them and they're having a hard time finding the solution and it answers one of the top 2 questions or problems that they have, then that's when you're really shooting fish in a barrel, when you have your target market and product and service and your niche nailed. All right, number 5, and this is an important one as well, is, does your market have the income to buy your solution? And that's another one. People come to us and they say, oh, hey, I've got such and such idea and this is going to be awesome. In fact, case in point, when I first decided I wanted to go into internet business and I was looking for a niche, one of the first things that came to my mind was working with musicians, working with artists, because I was a musician myself, and wouldn't it be cool to teach musicians how to market themselves better or how to make money with their concerts or their CDs and things like that. But what do we usually call artists? Or what do artists usually call themselves? Starving artists. And so, that's a market that might struggle to have, and I have a couple good friends that are in this market and they do all right. but they also have that frustration of, man, my market never has money to buy my solution. And that's because they went into a market that didn't as readily have money.
This actually, the same thing with the starving artist. I had a friend from Los Angeles that we talked about several of his niche ideas. And one of the ones that was his favorite was helping beginning actors, because he was a very professional actor, knew how to get through all those first hurdles.